requesting Maharaji to take over the call and provide us the nectar of today's topic to all of us. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Okay. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gauravakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. So we're continuing with, I hope, nectar of instruction, Sri Upadesh instruction, Upadesamrta, the nectar of instruction, by the mercy of ParthSarthi Foundation and ourselves, Anjana Sudha Academy, which I think was started like 1978 in May, so much older. And today is 2023, July 4th. And here we have nice, the original cover selected for Nectar of Instructions. Of course, Rupa Goswami's Samadhi behind the Radha Damodar temple. And Srila Prabhupada is broadcasting this knowledge all over the world. And of course, he simply takes himself as being an instrument for Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So, Upadesamrta, we've discussed a little bit of the history and how it came to be, and how it's actually like a younger brother or summary of the science of devotional service. The nectar of devotion is complete science. Complete science. Somebody microphone. Please close your microphone. Yeah. So, nectar of devotion is complete science, and Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava are demonstrations. Yeah. So, it's 11 texts, and it starts off the same as nectar of devotion with we have to engage the senses in the service of the Master with the senses. And if we learn how to do that, then we can become Jagat Guru. We can accept disciples all over the world. The text 2 and 3, basic principles, they're talking about 6 things that will make it difficult to control these 6 pushes of the mind and senses, and 6 things that will make it easy to control these. So they're practical knowledge. And of course, Srinivas, Srinath Krishnadas is presenting on the opposite Tuesdays. He started with text number 2. He got part of the way through, so we'll continue with that. So here's text number 2. Everybody please repeat. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraho jana sangha chaloilam cha Kadbir Bhaktir Vinashati. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. 1. Chahara, eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. 2. Sash, over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to attain. 3. Prajalpa, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. 4. Niyama agraha or niyama agraha, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations, niyama, only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement. Niyama agraha and niyama agraha, or rejecting the rules and regulations of scriptures and working independently. So basically, it'll be explained we're adopting the rules and regulations basically for sense gratification, for economic prosperity. And that can be an impediment for instead of following them for pure devotional means, or we're neglecting them out of a desire for economic prosperity, or for who I haven't got time to turn around. Right? And in either case, this is one of the 6 things that will destroy pure devotional service. Number 5, jana sangas, associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. 6, loilam, lauliam, being greedy for mundane achievements. Achahara prayasascha prajalpa niyamagraha jana sangas chaloilam cha shadvir bhaktir vinashati. So Srinivas went through text 1 and 2, Achahara and Prayasas, and as he explained, we're now dealing with prajalpa. The Prabhupada said another impediment is prajalpa, unnecessary talking. When we mix with a few friends, we immediately begin unnecessarily talking, sounding just like croaking frogs. If we must talk, we should talk about the Krishna consciousness movement. Those outside of the Krishna consciousness movement are interested in reading heaps of newspapers, magazines, and novels, while solving crossword puzzles and doing many other nonsensical things. So we can consider ourselves how much we're actually engaged and involved in these things ourselves. When we meet with different people, what do we begin to discuss? Ramya Kata, all the things about the village, the babies, the adults, the old people, the money making, the arguing, the fighting, the politics. And of course it changes. This was in 1970s that Prabhupada was talking about this, and maybe people don't read heaps of newspapers, but they get news feeds on different media. Okay? In this fashion, people simply waste their valuable time and energy. In the Western countries, old men retired from active life play cards, fish, watch television, and debate about useless socio-political schemes. All these and other frivolous activities are included in the Prajalpa category. Intelligent persons interested in Krishna consciousness, Krishna Bhavanamrita, should never take part in such activities. Okay. A Prabhupada mentions, of course, in Nectar of Devotion, that this not specifically injunctions against reading the news, if it's in terms of specifically our service, our activity. For example, we may want to look at the weather, see what's going to be happening, determine how we're going to be engaged in the Sankirtan, in Lord Chaitanya's movement. Okay, so Prajalpa. Are we engaged in Prajalpa? How can we reduce it? By increasing chanting Hare Krishna, reading the Krishna book, reading Chaitanya Charitamrita before Mangalarti, having Srimad Bhagavatam class together with devotees hearing about Dhruva Maharaj and Suniti and Suruchi. Jana Sangha. Jana Sangha, Achahara Prayasascha Prajalpam, refers to associating with persons not interested in Krishna consciousness. So these are the people with whom we engage in Prajalpa. The Prajalpa and Jana Sangha is tied together. One should strictly avoid such association. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has therefore advised us to live only in the association of Krishna conscious devotees. Bhakti Sanivas. Janame Hoy, Bhakti Sanivas. So one thing we did in our little book we wrote, our afterwards, Pachi, which of course is available at Amazon. And it's a review of Nectar of Instruction at a basically Bhakti by Baba level. But of course, it's also good, other levels too. The one thing we were doing, we developed over all the years of studying nectar of instruction, is looking up all the citations that Prabhupada uses and the acharyas use. And our realization was that they're not just ordinary citations. They're citations of things that occur again and again. And if you begin to follow the links and look at the references that the Upadesamrta is using, then you develop a very, very good knowledge of all of our books, from Isa Upanishad all the way up to the Vedanta Madhava and Lalita Madhava. So this is from Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govindaram Sri Madhusudan. It's from that song. And so many times being cited. And yeah, here it is. If we have the association of devotees, Bhakti Sanivas, then of course we won't be engaged in Janasangha. One should always engage in the service of the Lord and the association of the Lord's devotees. Association with those engaged in a similar line of business is very conducive to the advancement in that business. Consequently, materialistic persons form various associations, yes, and clubs to enhance their endeavors. For example, in the business world, we find that institutions such as the Stock Exchange and Chamber of Commerce. Similarly, we have established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give people an opportunity to associate with those who have not forgotten Krishna. So, of course, we're engaged in serving the deities, going out and preaching Krishna's message. And this tends to remind us of who am I, why am I doing this? So we haven't forgotten Krishna in a very essential way. And that's what we're doing. We're just giving people through so many methods, organizing festivals, distributing literature, putting on programs in universities. The spiritual association offered by ISKCON movement is increasing day by day. Yeah, because every devotees and people, so many are just coming out and somehow or other they can't help being devotees and just coming across their friends and relations and contacts and enemies in very, very subtle formats. It causes them to think differently. The spiritual association offered by our ISKCON movement is increasing day by day. Many people from different parts of the world are joining this society to awaken their dormant Krishna consciousness. So we can be associating with frogs, so we can be dancing with the peacocks. Okay, so that's Achahara, Prayashascha, Pradalpa. And Niyamagraha he doesn't handle, Prabhupada doesn't talk about. But now we go in the second half of every purport, which pretty much Prabhupada summarizes Bhaktisiddhanta's Anuvriti. And of course we discussed that commentary in the first few sessions. So the Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Thakur writes in his Anuvriti commentary that too much endeavor to acquire knowledge, so this is prayashas, achara prayashas, too much endeavor to acquire knowledge on the part of mental speculators or dry philosophers falls within the category of achahara, collecting more than needed. Those who have no desire for Krishna consciousness and who are simply interested in possessing more and more material things, either in the shape of scientific knowledge or monetary gain, are all included under the control of achahara. The Prabhupada's perspective of preaching in the Western world is much more gross, what is over collecting. But for us as devotees, as we become more purified, all these things about the Siddhanta apply quite nicely for our intelligence. So Radharani refuses to grow. Radharani refuses to know. It's not a matter of knowing too much. How much we know should be dictated by the purpose for which we're going to use it, our motivation, practical knowledge, applied engineering. So this is one first point Bhaktisiddhanta makes, that acquiring too much knowledge. Enough knowledge to do your service and improve it. And Prabhupada gives a very nice example. Once a great karmi accumulated a vast fortune, but later, according to his karma, he took his birth in a cobbler's house, Muchi, Shuchi, Sapitero, located near the building in which his previous life he had constructed for his children. It so happened that when this very cobbler came to his former house, his former sons and grandsons beat him with shoes. So Bhaktisiddhanta is giving the futility of acquiring these things. How much of your knowledge will you be able to take with you at the time of death? How many of your tennis shoes will you be able to take with you at the time of death? And then next is Niyamagraha. Bhaktisiddhanta talks about this. Accepting some of the scriptural rules and regulations for immediate benefit, as utilitarians advocate, is called niyama agraha. And neglecting the rules and regulations of the Shastras, which are meant for spiritual development, is called niyama agraha. So there it is. You know, we can never follow the rules and regulations too strictly. I know some devotees say, "Oh, you just too much Mangala Artik and the morning program. They get crazy." No, if you're doing it for the wrong purpose, if you're doing it for fame, prestige, to get children, a certain kind of children, all these kind of things, then you're following with the wrong purpose, and yes, you get a perverted result. On the other hand, if getting up in the morning and doing all these things is essential for advancing in spiritual life, and we don't do it, yama agraha, then we're also not going to advance. It's very important, again and again and again. Understand the rules and follow them. Those interested in Krishna consciousness should not be eager to accept rules and regulations for economic advancement. Yet they should be very faithful to accept scriptural rules and regulations for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. They should strictly follow the regular principles by avoiding illicit meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. They should strictly follow the regular principles by avoiding, again, here this now in detail, illicit sex, gambling, eating, and intoxication. The Prabhupada makes it so simple. We've heard the Prabhupada said, I explained Bhagavad Gita so simply that even a first-class fool can understand it. So I think it was Guna Goy Maharaj who said that, yeah, but my sister said she read it and she still couldn't. I told her that and she said she still couldn't understand. Yeah. So I guess we're, 1/10 class, super first class fools. So there it is, very, very simply. We should follow these four principles. This is agraha, and we should avoid the things we should avoid these things, and we should follow the principles of chanting 16 rounds a day. One should also avoid association. So here we have sangha. Achahara prayasas cha prajapanyamagana jnana sangas. One should also avoid association with Mayavadis who simply blaspheme Vaishnava devotees. So what we're wondering here, because there's two different ways you can take this, depending on the tone of the speaker. That's why when you're reading these things or saying these things, you can communicate so much more by your intonations and pausing and all these things like that. Because there may be, quite clearly, probably talking about some people in India who are monks like this and that. They're a good man, but just in the wrong movement. So they may be following the Mayavad philosophy. They may be wearing 3-line horizontal tilak, but it's just simply some kind of, what's the word, like formality or something they're involved in. And they don't really understand the difference between these different philosophies and ideas. Srila Goswami and the 4 Kumaras were both impersonalists. And they said that Srila Goswami didn't exactly like the association of Vaishnavas. One should also avoid association with Vaishnavas. So is this a explanation of association with Mayavadis? So is this an explanation of what a Mayavadi is, or is it a qualifier? We should avoid the Mayavadis who blaspheme devotees. For those who are simply impersonalists, okay, then many times it's just from lack of knowledge. The Prabhupada goes at it again here. Bhukti kamis, who are interested in material happiness. Mukti kamis, who desire liberation by merging into the existence of the formless absolutes. And siddhi kamis, who desire the perfection of mystic yoga practice, are all classified as achaharis. So collecting too much sponge or eating too much. But here Bhaktisiddhanta again saying requiring too much knowledge. Now he's talking about avoiding association with all these very, very, many ways, highly elevated people. To associate with such persons is not at all desirable. He says desires, these all fall within the category of loilam. Jana sangas, shaloilam sha. Loilam means hankering or desire. Okay. But this said, desires to expand the mind by yoga, merge into Brahman, to attain whimsical material prosperity, are all included within the category of greed, loila. So we have 6 things here. Well, we're trying to point out, it seems to us that first off is greed or hankering or desire. Oh, I want that car, I want that transportation, I want those shoes, I want that luggage, I want that briefcase, I want that suitcase, I want that backpack, I want those dresses, I want those earrings. And we can stop this. But rather than entertaining this greed, we entertain it. Okay, and then to get it, all these unnatural things, we have prayashaha. So greed, and then there has to be over endeavor. There has to be more endeavor. You have to get a second job. You have to start cheating people and charging unfair amounts in so many ways like that. And then finally, by that you'll get achahara. So we see that this second text of things to avoid is pretty much, and the whole beginning of the purport is all talking about that. We wanted to take the time to put it into a linear order, first part of the purport, but we didn't have time to do it. So basically, the whole purport is really focusing around these 3 things: hankering and letting your mind get carried away to these things, and not substituting personal conscious activities, and then endeavoring, and starting to endeavor more than necessary, eating garbanzo beans and chana dal and chopped up raw onions so you have strength. And then, it'll take years off your lifetime, but you'll collect what you need. Now, of course, all these things are fueled by prajalpa. And of course, the prajalpa is the manifestation of jnana sangha. Here's all 6 of these things at one time. We start adopting rules and regulations, by over endeavor and things like that. But it all comes basically, we'll see in text number 5 and 4, 5, 6, we'll see how the basic principle of everything is association. It's not impersonal rules and regulations, but it's personal. Who we're associating with and how to associate. So again and again, it's saying avoid the association, which manifests, of course, by avoiding engaging in talking, watching movies, situation comedies, literature, that are necessary to enhance our greed. Because unless you're talking about it with other people, most likely your greed for things, automobiles and this and that, doesn't have so much empathy to develop. Okay. Then Prabhupada kind of gives us the result of all these things, which is when you're frustrated in obtaining these things, you become angry. We learned that in text number 1. Prabhupada wrote a 50, Yukta wrote a first quarter. So Prabhupada says, and I think this is back to his purport now, modern warfare between capitalists and communists, modern warfare between capitalists and communists is an example of achahara. They both want the same limited resources. There's only so much petroleum, and everybody is fighting for it to have an unnatural lifestyle of flying in the air, or rushing down the road, hundreds of kilometers per hour. Yeah? So they engage in fighting over these things like cats and dogs. Cats and dogs like not at all human beings. The first mantra of Sri Upanishad, Prabhupada says, Ishavashamidam sarvam yakinsha jagatyam jagat kenatiya kena dunjita magrada kashya suddhanam. If you close your eyes and do it, you have to do that. You have to keep refreshing these things. So whenever you see the verses, try and close your eyes and chant. Isha Upanishad says everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only his quota. Krishna conscious devotees know that this material world was designed by complete arrangement of the Lord. Now, of course, that's the invocation. So we see the Upadesamrta leader is paraphrasing the invocation of Isha Upanishad and citing the first text. And we use these in terms of giving classes in the universities on economics and these kind of things, Vedic economic system. These are some of the fundamental principles right here. And it's very, very stimulating for good professors who've been commenting about how we have our ideas very clear. And of course, you can go in and start expanding it and developing it in terms of animal slaughter and economy. And Socrates was a vegetarian. Okay. Without the living entities having to encroach upon the life or rights of one another. This complete arrangement affords the proper quota of wealth for everyone, according to his real needs, and thus everyone may live peacefully according to the principle of plain living, high thinking. So that was, of course, in the beginning, I think it was also there, the beginning of this text. It's a motto that Prabhupada uses quite often. It's very nice again. You can go out and approach people on this of simple living and high thinking. Unfortunately, materialists who have neither faith in the plan of God nor any aspiration for higher spiritual development, they have no faith in the plan of God and the goal of that plan. They have no aspiration for higher spiritual development, which is being offered by the plan. Misuse their God-given intelligence only to augment their material possessions. And so many unnecessary automobiles, luxury automobiles. They devise many systems, such as capitalism, materialistic communism, to advance their material position. They are not interested in the laws of God or in a higher goal. Always anxious to fulfill their unlimited desires for sense gratification, they are conspicuous by their ability to exploit their fellow living beings. This Krishna consciousness movement offers a spiritual community that can bring about a peaceful condition in the world. Every intelligent man should purify his consciousness and rid himself of the above mentioned 6 hindrances by taking wholehearted shelter of the Krishna consciousness movement. So do we see this? Does this Krishna consciousness movement offer a spiritual community? Well, it does, and we gather at the Kanishta Adhikari, we gather around the deities, but then not necessarily being able to expand that out and see how the deities are in other people's hearts, and then being able to expand this Daivi Varna Ashram down in the outside world. But at the same time, too, many times, if you're getting up in the morning, chanting your rounds, going to the Mangala Arati, carrying class, then when you get out there and people see you, they see what you're eating, they see what you're not eating, they see how you respond to different situations of anger and politics and everything else. And when they begin to talk with you about different things that are more near and dear to them, they start pointing out your association. And so we have a community. I'm thinking about all the time now of our Christian community. And so many people may have jobs, working for other people or some management thing, but still that's okay. It's our nature. If we're just very, very intelligent Shudras, okay. If we are, but find our nature. Don't over endeavor to be something we're not. Okay? But we should do that in this perspective of association of devotees. And then, of course, if people become interested, then they start to become devotees. And so, again, it's expanding all over the world into different marketplaces, and eventually having our own, starting to develop our own village environment. We see many places people are beginning to realize that these urban megacities are just not working. Probably says the common people can see from many more generations into the past and over much more of the world, different cultures than they ever used to be able to see before. The Russians tried to block all communication with the outside, but it didn't work. So people are seeing the Berlin Wall doesn't work. The Great Wall of China didn't work. The Great Wall of Trump, that's what they're trying to do. Mexico won't work. So in trying so many ways to keep people locked up in physical environments, but no, people are seeing these things, and therefore they're beginning to see that the big cities just do not work. So many propaganda to try and convince the people to come from a simple agricultural environment, extended family environment. In the big cities, you get so many things and this and that. You don't. You're working yourself to death with very little enjoyment. So now, okay, then people are beginning to locate their families out in the rural, suburban, and more rural areas even. One example, Jambavan Das, his parents had a big size house in Lima, nice. As I understand it, he then broke it down into like basically studio apartments, where you have your room and your little kitchen and with personal bath, and you can live comfortably. Because before the men would be coming every day, maybe like an hour and a half to get from the rural area to live there, where it was pleasant and clean and more safe and healthy for their families and children. And then going back, so 3 hours of their day. So then, okay, let's do this instead. Let's rent a studio apartment place like this with other nice people, nice, whatever, pleasant association. What to speak of having a room in a temple. And then we go to work on Tuesday, so we spend Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday we head back out. So Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, all day Monday, we're staying in the rural environment. We're working from home, doing stuff and making appointments for people in the city when we'll all meet together in the city. And this way, the Gurukulas can develop, the programs and for children, the different activities and going up together with friends, and agriculture and so many things. Sometimes in Peru, the cities are just so hostile. So many things are closed down for days on end. But after a while, this has to go on again. So things start somehow or other with some government. But if you are based in the country, you have 30 days worth of convenient, resources, physical resources. Okay, then you just can avoid going to the city sometime or whatever. Then people start to move back out in the country, and it's closer to the ways that Krishna designed everything for our quota, resources, and so on. So ISKCON, let's pioneer these things. Let's, pioneer not only a community of people who worship the deity, and developing our own resources in terms of village building, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And essentially every intelligent man. It's the same thing. In the beginning, we're trying to develop brahmanas. We're trying to take first-class people and give them first-class habits. What is a first-class person? Somebody who's honest. Honest with others, honest with himself. I'm an alcoholic. They admit it. They face it. And therefore, I have to be careful of this and that. Because this is what my problem. I have it, I admit it. So people who are second, third, fourth, fifth class, by associating with this movement and ridding themselves of these 6 impediments, are actually intelligent, and that intelligence gets a chance to grow, then they can then give guidance to second-class people who are administrators and secretaries and organizers like that. Because we have to find our tendency. My own nature, I say, is Shudra, Brahmana, Brahmana, Brahmana. I love to get up early. I love making PowerPoint shows. PowerPoint show is a Shudra activity. It's done for this intellectual purpose. And with higher thinking, aesthetic thinking. So, that's the verse. And I could do a little bit more stuff here, but any questions or comments in it about the whole book or anything? Don't be shy.
I love
it. Does anybody have any questions or comments so far that Maharaj has explained? Very graphical presentation, Maharaj. Very nice. Anybody has any comment, questions?
Complaints, donations?
I think we have Manu. Can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Maharaj, I probably have missed that part. I was driving where you said that we should minimize our association with non-devotees, like, people who are like mukti kami and people who are like, they want to enjoy the material things. But as a part of living in this material world, we are coming across these people on a daily basis. Like even our family members are like, oh, I want to go vacation here, or I want to buy this kind of car or buy this kind of bag, just like you said. So at that time, our mind wander with it, like like it ponders on that thought. So how at that point, like we understand completely, we have entered Krishna consciousness. We are not Krishna consciousness. That's how I will disclaim that we are not Krishna conscious yet. We still get bewildered and ponder upon thoughts of material things like, oh, I need a new bed. Oh, I need a new car and all those things. So at that point, how to control our mind and resituate it in the lotus feet of Krishna, Maharaj? That's my query. Thank you, Maharaj.
Everybody is on a different level. As we go on, Rupa Goswami will go and explain the same things again and again. In text number 10, Arnabhya Parito Hare, almost the last text, he describes everybody, properly expands it to include Vikarnis, Karnis, Jnanis, Vimukti Jnanis, Mystic Yogis, Sadhana Bhaktas, Prema Bhaktas, Raja Bhaktas, Gopis, Radha. So it includes everything. So then we have to try to understand what is our level. Okay, am I initiated devotee? Okay, my first initiation, second initiation. And by reading books like this and discussing them, when we begin to understand, a little bit farther ahead, he'll describe Kanista Majamuta. And so your question, I can't really answer it. It's like somebody going to a doctor and saying, "Doctor, I'm sick, I have a cough." Okay. And he's going to have to ask you, cough for me, or she's going to have to ask you, cough for me, and hold the stethoscope on your back and this and that, looks at your eyelid, ask when it started, and then we have to take some blood and, so many things. You see Prabhupada, when he was dealing with people, he was like poking them and pushing them, and very quickly he would understand with his intuitive ability, everything else. What is this person? What's his level? And then, of course, there's different medicine for different people. The most fundamental thing, of course, is association. Okay. So in morning and evening, getting association with devotees. Okay. And then when you're associating with these people, what is your motive? We have to go to work. Basically, that takes a lot of our time. But why do I do that? We chat and everything else and pray and understand because I want the money. Okay, so you go to work to make money. And other people, your associates, will appreciate, wow, she's really good, or they're good at making money, but they make it in a way that's good. There's not too much bad reaction to people and not dirty business. Abhimanyu, he's one example. He knew how to get into the chakra vyuha, but he didn't know how to get out. Okay. And so they said, don't worry, we'll go right behind you, we'll save you. But Jayadratha used his one benediction that day, one day you'll be able to defeat the Pandavas. And he stopped them all. And they couldn't save Abhimanyu, and the chakra vyuha reorganized itself, and he was trapped inside. So you're complaining about bad association, well, here he is, completely cut off from his Krishna conscious family, trying to survive, surrounded by karmis and dekarmis and everything else, the enemy. So what was his conclusion? You know what he decided?
No, Maharaj.
He decided, okay, if I destroy the entire Kaurava army, there'll be nothing left to get out of. It's a simple thing. How do we get out of this vyuha? Well, if I kill them all, there's nothing left to get out of. So if you take this attitude that wherever I am, I'm going to make all these people devotees. I'm going to get every single one of these people initiated. And, of course, you may end up like Abhimanyu too. You may end up be killed. You become famous, and the next destination will be very, very, very wonderful. So go on associating with devotees and follow the rules and regulations in terms of your level of development. And then gradually, you'll see the whole world. You'll see the whole world as candidates for Krishna consciousness, and you'll see how to help every single one of them. And you won't be influenced by that association.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Good luck. Tell them all out.
Thank you, Mataji. Mihika, could you please unmute yourself and ask a question?
Hey Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for the nice class and explanation on the verse 2 of NOI. Maharaj, I have one question about how do we give our association to others and not take their association if they're not devotees, like school classmates or friends?
Same questions. You force them to eat what you bring to lunch, and you don't eat what they bring. You push your cookies off on them, and you don't take their cookies. This is text number 5, 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6. So let's keep on coming to the classes, and we'll get your answer. But basically, we already said it. The association comes from talking, from prajalpa. So if you're only talking about school matters and these kinds of things, and Krishna consciousness in different forms, then automatically they'll be getting your association, and you won't be taking their association. You can talk about the sun. You can talk about the fragrance of the earth. You can talk about the taste of water. Yeah. And then more and more and more, you find ways to bring the topics to nice things, into the progressive like that. So that's the main thing. Get up early, chant 16 nice rounds, discuss Prabhupada's books. And in the daytime, then you'll be able to be intelligent enough to engage people in nice topics and so on. And then come back in the evening, and then you have your consciousness purified from whatever bad association you had. Shall we chant a song? Shall we finish with a song?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. This is the end of this purport. So next week, His Grace, Srinath Krishnadas will start text number 3. And of course, that's the 16th to make it easy to chant Hare Krishna. So, I'm going to push this button. There's a very, very nice song. This is Oh Hey Vaishnava Thakur. What's unusual about this picture of Prabhupada? Is Prabhupada engaging in Achahara in this picture? How many wristwatches does Prabhupada have?
2.
Oh, Prabhupada's over collecting. Yeah. So this is okay, Vaishnava Thakur. We put the button here. Our PowerPoint shows available. We might send on it. Okay. It takes us right to KK songs. We go to the song there, so we come to Ohe Vaishnava Thakur, Bhajana Lalasa, number 7, from Sharanagati. And it talks about the Upadesamrta, of course. Let's sing the first words. Ohe Vaishnava Thakur, Doyar Sagar, Vedase Koruna Kori. Oh, Ohe Vaishnava Thakur, Doyar Sagar, Vedase Koruna Kori. Diyapada Chaya, Shodoheya Maya, Kamara Chara. Diyapada Chaya, Shodoheya Maya, Kamara Chara. Jaya Vega Domi, Jaya Dosha Shodi, Jaya Guna De Hodase. Jaya Domi. Sanga Deho He Amare Kosaichi Sangera Shi Sanga Deho He Amare Ekaki Amara Nahitaya Bala Harinamo Sankirtane. Tumi Kripa Kori Shadabando Deya Deho Krishna Namadane. Kripa Kori Krishna se tomara, Krishna vite paro, tomara shokatiyache. Amito Kanga, Krishna Krishna Bali, Laitova Pache Pache. Amito Kanga, Krishna Bali, Laitova Pache Pache. So he starts off his song by saying Vaishnava Thakur. Of course, Thakur means as good as God. Nartam Das Thakur. It appears that if your disciples become Prabhupads, then you can become called Thakur. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur. Ohe Vaishnava Thakur. Goyar Sagar. Ocean of mercy. Be merciful to your servant. Make mercy to your servant. Be merciful. Okay. Crying for mercy from your child. Diya Pada Chaya. Give me the chaya of your feet. Chai, tea, chai, 6. Chaya, shade. Just give me the shade under your feet. I don't require anything big. Shodaheya Maya, purify me. Kamara Sharanagari. I'll take the dust of your feet. And let me see. Chaya Vega Domi. Vega, Vacho Vegam. Help me dominate the 6 bushes. Chaya Dosha Shodi. Purify me of the 6 bad qualities we're discussing today. Chaya Guno Deho Dasi. And give the 6 good qualities to your servant. Okay. Let's fix 1, 2, 3. Then Chaya Sata Sangha. Give me the 6 kinds of association. Text number 4. Deho He Amare. Vosechi Sangere Ase. I desire to sit down and get your association. That's text number 6. So again, text number 7 and 8 says, chant Hare Krishna, worship the deity, read the Krishna book, and be happy. But he says, Eka Kiya Mara, all by myself, Nahi Paya Bala. I don't get the strength of Nama Sankirtana. So it's like he's saying, I can't do 7 and 8. He realizes I want to chant all the time. I want to chant my rounds. Give me one, be merciful to me. Give me one bindu, one drop of your faith. Then I can get this great treasure of Krishna's name. Then I can engage in Sankirtan. So he's keeping association as completely primary here. So without association of devotees, and how do we do that? Then we stay free from association of karmis. We can't make advancement. He's going on and saying, I'm just running behind you. You can give Krishna to whoever you want to, that's your power. So I just like a dog, destitute, saying, Krishna, 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 Krishna. Yeah, running behind you. It's a very nice song, very nice meditation. So thank you all very much for your association here of the ParthSarthi Foundation. A very big name. What a big name you have. What big teeth you have.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for giving such a wonderful lecture and explain the second verse of NOI. So we are very grateful for your presence here. And if anybody has any questions, last moment questions, if anybody has anything, just speak it out.
Don't be shy. Don't be timid.
1, 2, 3. Harilila Prabhuji, do you have anything to say? You are on mute, Prabhuji.
He's in Chinidesh. Harilila, your microphone is closed.
Yes. Okay. Now I'm there.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Very nice, wonderful presentation, graphical presentation. And you had made everything, all points clear in a way that we can digest it. And we'll see now how long it will stay.
Every day we keep association of devotees. Okay, thank you all very much. Haribol!
Good inspiration. Maharaj ki jai. Ki jai. All Bhakti ki jai. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha. Rupa sindhubhya eva cha. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Thank you much, all of you.
Ki jai. Hari Om.